Hey gamers, today we're going to look at Bohemian Villages. Let's check it out. To set up the game, you're going to have these tiles out here. You'll take away some for less than 4 players, but you'll have these tiles that are double-sided here, so there's a lot of replayability there, and you'll set up your little town any way you want. You'll set up a little area to hold all the coinage. There's $1, $1, $5, and 10 values there. You'll have 4 die here. Each player will get 13 little meeples of their color, and they will get this handy dandy player aid, which is fantastic. Now this game is super simple. All you're doing is rolling these 4 die and using either sets of 2 or 3. You may not use 1 on its own. You have to use at least a set of 2 or 3 if you want to, and then placing someone in that building that matches that number. So for instance, I could put one in a 9 in a building 4, or like I just showed you earlier, I could put one in a building of a value of 11 and then not have anyone for the second one since I can't use a single die. So the only thing to show you now really is, what do all these little towns do? Well, this player aid is genius. It tells you everything. 2, 3, 4, and 5 are bakery, butchery, dairy, and tailor shop. For each person you have in each one of these, it's kind of like set collection. If you have a guy in all 4 of these, you're going to get 20 coins at the end of the game. If you have him only in 3 of those, 12, and then 2 would be 5, and of course 1 would just be 1 victory point. So basically like set collection. Now, the flour mill and the glass factory, if you roll a 6 or 7, you'll get into those. And what that does is, if let's say I was in a glass factory there and a flour mill up around here. Took me a while to find it. Anyway, for every person that you have in a flour mill, you're going to get one of these bags, okay? These little bag tokens. If you're in a glass factory, you're going to get one of these little glass tokens here. Well, as the game goes along, you'll only have as many tokens as there are buildings out in that game, and once someone takes the last token of either one of these will score. If someone takes the last flour mill, then everyone will exit their flour mill off the board, and they'll get paid $2 for every flour bag that they have. So if I had multiple ones, I could get paid more than that. If I had 3 flour mills, I get paid $6 for that. And then of course those spaces would be open again. Same thing with the glass factories, except glass is worth 3 points each. So if someone filled up the last glass factory and I owned like 3 or 4 glass factories, 3 factories would give me 9 coins, which coins are victory points at the end of the game. Of course, I would have to remove my guy from that glass factory. So that's how it goes with the glass factories and the flour mills. 8 is farms. You'll get a coin for each one that you own. So for instance, if I had a farmer here, I would just get 1 coin. If I took over the next farmer over there, I would get 2 coins because I own 2 farms. If I had a farmer here, I'd get 3 coins because I own 3 farms, and so on and so forth. Ends are very cool because ends are on a 9. If you have an end, you'll put your guy on the end, and then you'll grab this little token. It's just a barrel here. Once you have 3 other people in that town, it doesn't have to be your own people, it could be other people, what you're going to do is flip this card over and hey, it's a beer. You are open for business. That means every round you are going to score a coin, which is basically a victory point. The town hall is number 10. Town halls they're in the center of town, and they can be worth a lot of money, 10, 9, 8 coins, but only if at the end of the game your square is full. Now again, it doesn't have to be your people, it could be others too. If it's full, you're going to get those big coins, which would be victory points. If it doesn't fill out, it's a risk. It'll be a -5 victory points at the end of the game. So it is a risk there, which I kind of like. The church, you have to roll an 11, and same thing like the farm. For every church you own, you'll get $1. Also, at the end of the game, whoever has the most churches gets 10 coins, second place gets 6. But the coolest thing about getting a church is, whoever got the most recent church will get the bishop's hat. And the bishop's hat allows you to get a coin every time you roll doubles. So if this was my roll, I would get a coin because I rolled doubles. And this bishop hat stays with you until someone else gets the next church. Finally, you have the manor. The manor is basically as printed there. It could be worth 10 coins, could be worth only 2 coins, but you can put your person there and instantly get that reward. Now, if there is another little thing here, it tells you here how you can get a reroll token. What does that mean? Well, let's say that I took the 9, but there's no 4s left open. Everyone's booked a 4. I can't get into a 4. Or maybe I don't want to use that 4. For whatever reason, I can choose not to take my second action and instead take a reroll token. That means that anytime during the game I can reroll one or all of my die just by cashing this in. You can have multiple reroll tokens on you just as long as you choose not to do a second action. Now, you need to at least have 2 die. If you just took all 3 of these and said, oh, I don't want to take my second action. No, you at least need to have 2 die in order to get a reroll token for the next round. The game ends when one player has successfully put out all of his people on the board. Once that happens, you're going to score flour and glass one more time, but keep them on the board, of course, and then add up any in-game points, for instance, like the town hall, and give out those coins. After that, whoever has the most coins wins. Now, there is a mini expansion on the BGG store. It has a couple of these tiles. I'll show you these little extra tokens. I'll tell you what they do here. This one gives you, for infinity, you can get -1 off one of your rolls, or you can add a pip to one of your rolls. Or this one's a one-time only. You cash it in, and you can set any 2 die to any number that you want. Now, to get one of these, you have to roll a combined 13 or higher. So, for instance, maybe, well, I didn't even get close to that, but let's say that was it. I rolled a 14. Okay, then I could get one of these instead of taking an action on the board, which you may want to do because these are really powerful tokens. And that's the game. Final thoughts, what do I think about the game? Well, I was looking at to complete an order to get that free shipping. You know how we do. It's like, oh man, I'm right there. I'm just short of what can I get for $100 to wrap it all up. So I found this game and said, why not? So it was one of those things you kind of throw in there just to get free shipping. And when I sat down with my crew, I said, okay, this game doesn't seem like much, but we'll play it. And everyone had a great time. In fact, I think someone from my gaming group went out and bought it afterwards because he really did enjoy it. I love it too. I think it's a fun, simple game. That player aid is one of the best player aids ever in a board game. So it makes the game really fun. This is maybe like a filler game for me. This is something that, you know, doesn't take too much thought, but there is some strategy in there as well. Of course, it is luck of the die, but you can mitigate that luck by combining die or, you know, cashing in for rerolls later on. And it is fun. There's a little different paths to victory here too. So great game, really fun. It may not be for everyone. Do you need the mini expansion off the BGG store? Not really, but I'm glad I got it. If I find a mini expansion on the BGG store, I always buy it if I have a game for it because I want to see how it plays. And this one, yes, we will always play with it because it's a risk to use 13 or more just to get one of those little, you know, mitigator ones that minus a roll or plus a roll. But someone got one. We had them in play for like the first 2 or 3 games and no one would get them. And then suddenly one guy was just frustrated with his roll. I said, dude, you got 13 or more, get one of these bonuses. And he did. And after that, everyone started getting them. They're like, oh yeah, they're right there. And so it does change the way you play the game a little bit, and I do enjoy that. Is it necessary? Not really, but for a mini expansion, it is a pretty good one to have. All right, gamers, that's all the time I have for now. Until next time, Cobra Kai!